All right, this week on Mic Drop Monday, we are going to have a little recap of my week delivering mail last week, get into all the details about how that went down. There was a lot of fun. We're going to talk about the Postal Service released their fiscal year in 2025 report. They lost $9 billion. We take a moment to honor the life of the employee, a Postal Service employee from Allen Park, Michigan, that was caught in that machine. We talk about how UPS packages are coming back to the Postal Service. And then stick around to the end. Going to ask the question is your post office delaying mail and packages during this peak season? Stay tuned. All right, welcome to another episode of Mic Drop Mondays. It is November the 17th, 2025. Went back and carried my route last week. Did post a bunch of little videos that were all over TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. Hope you guys saw those. There was a lot of interaction about all of the things that I was talking about when I did the videos. The post office also put out their financial report, which once again shows them to be losing a ton of money. And a few other things that happened over the week. So we thought we'd do kind of a week in review. We have the greatest producers of all time here, Sarah Renee. Renee said that she's going to show us what she looks like on camera, but apparently not yet. Not yet.
Oh yeah, you see me right there. I'm laid out on my little, what is that? My pool.
Your pool floaty.
Yeah, we'll take what we can get. So, what do you guys want to start with? What do you guys want to talk about first?
All right, so what made you decide to carry your route on the Veterans Day week? Like, was there a reason why you decided that week, or?
Oh yeah, the reason is almost 100% based on my schedule as your national business agent. It's very hard to get a whole week where I don't have like something that I have to be at. So, like for example, for the last couple months, we've been out in DC a lot, like almost every other week, with executive council meetings and on the bargaining committees and different stuff like that. And then we have, different trainings or meetings or this or that. So maybe about a month ago, I was trying to work the calendar and I'm like, all right, that's the week. But it wasn't ideal because the Mondays are always heavy, and then that was the first day, and then Wednesday was the day after the holiday. But it don't matter, whatever. It's never going to be ideal. So that's how it worked. That's just when the schedule allows. That's how it works.
Is there anything like new that you felt as if that you learned this time carrying mail since the last time that you carried?
Well, I did keep an extensive diary. So the scanner it always changes. Like, okay, so um, for one thing, they do the arrow key differently over there at 22nd Street, and actually, I think we have a national grievance on the issue because technically they're not following the M41, but it's accountable to me as long as it's accountable. Now, I know a lot of places, man, the carriers are just taking the arrow key or any accountable item and just leaving it on the back end without really being cleared of the accountable item, which I hate. We're on the clock, whatever. But people are done. They want to get home, and there's nobody to clear them. So the system they have at 22nd Street is not. You don't sign. What you do is you scan a barcode that's associated with that arrow key, and after you scan the barcode, it asks you to verify if, in fact, that's the arrow key that you have, the physical arrow key, and you say, yeah, that's the one I have, and it says, okay, basically, who gave it to you? And then you scan the badge of the clerk or the supervisor. And so that's how you receive the arrow key. It's under a separate section in the scanner, like arrow key management, I think it's called. So you go in through there, and then on the back end, same thing. You go in reverse and you return the arrow key, and somebody has to receive it. So that was different. They disabled the load truck feature, which I was so I don't use the load truck feature because to me, separating 1 through 6 just doesn't do it for me. Like my block has like all these different it has like 30 something blocks, bunch of deadheads. Anyway, when it divides it 1 through 6, I just have to resort it again. And when I get to that part, and it'll split up relays and whatever. But I was talking to somebody on Tuesday from another station, and they were saying, no, use the load truck feature because the load truck feature, it'll say 1 through 6, but then it also will spit out a number like the delivery sequence number. Like if you have 800 deliveries, it'll say that goes to delivery 436, and then you can write 436 on there, and now you know the exact walk sequence order of the parcels. And so I was planning on using it on Wednesday because, the first couple of days was hardest for me because I didn't know exactly where everything was on the route. It's my route, but I've only had it for a couple of years and I only deliver it 1 week out of the year. So I'm not like super familiar with the route. Anyway, I went to go use the load truck feature on Wednesday and it is like disabled. Like it's not even, you can't use the load truck feature. And the other thing, I misdelivered a parcel. I think it was on Monday. Monday I worked past 9 o'clock.
You misdelivered a parcel?
Yeah, well, shit.
What?
One that I know of. One that I know of. Man, I'm a perfectionist out there. I don't know. I think most carriers are. We take ourselves real seriously out there. Like the least I could do is properly deliver everything that's entrusted to me. But I know for a fact I misdelivered a parcel because the customer came and found me. He's like, "This ain't ours," and I'm like, "Why didn't the scanner alert me that I'm outside of, how it always used to tell you? It doesn't do that no more, where it tells you you're 500 feet away or whatever.
Yeah, no, that was only with the older scanners that we have. With the newer ones, I don't think I've gotten that yet, or maybe it was just my scanner. I don't know. I don't know, Sarah, if you got it.
Last year I was delivering mail, it was giving me the alert.
Yeah.
It doesn't. They must have disabled that feature. Somebody told
me.
Maybe
they just gave you a bogus scanner altogether and wanted you to figure something out.
No, it didn't. It never told me. So there was a few things. I had no sampling requests, none, the whole week. So I don't know if that's disabled or they're not using it as much or whatever. The sampling request was not there all week, and it was not telling me how far. Like normally it'll say, "Are you sure this is right?" Because you're 500 feet away from the delivery point. And sometimes the GPS is just off, and usually you're like, "Yeah, it's good," but it just gives you a chance to double check that address. Hey, make sure I'm not misdelivering nothing. Well, it didn't alert me to anything, and so I had a delivery on. I know I delivered it to 1851 Canal Port. I think it was 1951 Canal Port. I got so many places and streets, like 17th Street Place, and it just, man, keeping up with all that, and it's dark, so it gets dark like 4 o'clock. And like the first day, Monday, I worked past 9 o'clock, 9 something. I wanted to see what that extra penalty looked like. Make sure they're gonna pay it to me. But it's anyway. I know that wasn't probably the only mistake I made all week, but I think that was the biggest change was the scanner. I'll tell you another thing that was different that I had never seen before. Maybe you guys have seen this before, but carriers are using the Amazon bags. Those big bags you see Amazon drivers. So it'll be like this big, I don't know how to call it.
They're like
not
blue
plastic
crates almost, but they're bags.
Yes. And they sit them on a hand truck. And so what you do is you load a bunch of parcels in there. And then like if you have buildings and stuff, or if you have like a series of buildings, it's easy you can fit like 5 times as many parcels as like a satchel or something. And so I saw like 3 or 4 carriers using Amazon equipment. Amazon. Like, how people used to always use the post office tubs? I mean, that was always everyone uses our tubs. Like we had the best equipment, and it just threw me. I was like, what? We're using Amazon's equipment? I mean, literally the Amazon bag. It had the Amazon logo on it, and and everything. Well, the post office doesn't have that piece of equipment. But a lot of carriers in my station have a hand truck. They have a lot of buildings and stuff like that where they're walking down the street with the hand truck loading up the parcels. My route is, just a regular like walking route. I may have buildings, but I don't have like big buildings and stuff like that. But all the vehicles I went in, they all had hand trucks in them. Like there's like hand trucks in all the vehicles.
Did you notice how if you get a message through the scanner, how it says like who exactly sent you that message, their name pops up at the top instead of like their ACE login?
Yeah, I meant to take a screenshot. They would, the only time I was getting messages was like late at night where they would tell you, you're not authorized. I'm like, whatever. But I never took a screenshot or a picture, I guess, of the message. So it tells you who it's coming from at the top. It has like a name, or what does it have?
Yeah, it has their name.
It has their name, okay. Yeah, no, I didn't notice that, Renee.
When you were out there, like, did it like spark like any new like ideas or like grievances, like, for you when you're out there, like just in your thoughts or?
So the main thing that I was thinking about was and it's mainly Amazon, but any of the private delivery companies, just the relationship between us and other private delivery companies is just, it's both interesting and it's both like disturbing. So like Amazon is out there making deliveries, but like they don't have an arrow key. So we're like we're in danger because of the arrow keys. And the other thing that happened this week was, well, you guys don't deliver in Chicago. So in Chicago, we got text alert from branch 11 twice.
Yeah, we saw it online.
Friday.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was like masked people, going into the post offices, or at least on the dock of the post offices at various different post offices, like stealing mail and maybe packages or whatever. Anyway, it just, we're in a much higher level of danger out there, and the post office, like our work should be so much more valuable than what Amazon does, but to the customer, like they don't even know the difference.
Mm-hmm.
So Amazon will come and just like leave this shit. Like I was delivering to one place and I had a arrow key. I get in the building, it buzzes. I get in, I take my packages and I put them inside, under the mail, but wherever, like in a secure place. And there's one of the customers that lives there. She goes outside to like retrieve all the Amazon packages, and she's like, "Oh, I didn't realize that you guys could get inside." And I'm like, "Yeah, Amazon is inferior. Like they're leaving your shit outside where anyone could steal the stuff." But there's no value, or there's the Postal Service to me. There has to be some value in the Postal Service. The fact that we have to go through like background checks, the fact that we're held to these standards, the fact that we have universal access and universal delivery obligation everywhere, that's got to come with a flip side, like a you have added responsibility, but you also get an added benefit. And the benefit that we've always gotten, the Postal Service as a business, is that you get the first class mail monopoly. All of the letter mail goes through the post office, and you have the monopoly on the mailbox, which is not so valuable with the packages. It's still valuable with the small packages because we can deliver to the mailbox, and Amazon and other companies can't. But it's not as valuable when you deliver into people's porches and things like that. But it just seems that the Postal Service has to establish itself as a delivery mechanism, as the delivery mechanism for America going forward in the modern era, because otherwise all of delivery gets devalued. And you look at the way the Postal Service does hiring and the way they treat people, and it's just real similar to Amazon drivers, like we're just bodies. Like the whole dignity of the job, the whole, and you look at the uniform situation, right? And just, looking dignified and looking professional and being something that's of value to the community. We're being devalued. We're being devalued every day out there. And to the people running the Postal Service, we're just like Amazon. We're just like throwaway employees. You're not hired as a career employee in a lot of cases. The pay is low at the beginning. The uniform program is lousy. We just need a body. We need a body to cover this route or whatever. It's no, there's no professionalism and skill set to the job, and that's what it should be. Traditionally we've gotten to know our customers. We know, like I should know, and I do in some cases, but I'm not on the route enough. But I know where is the best place to leave the packages, for example, right? Where is the secure location? When I'm out there, you should be able to trust that the uniform letter carrier knows what to do with your mail and your packages and whatever we're delivering out there. So to me, that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest thing out there.
Is that something new that your branch does, where they send out that
alerts,
massive text, or like have you guys always done that?
Yeah, we've always had the alert program, so it's even individualized to the station, to the point where, like when you sign up for the text alert, some way you scan a QR code, or you're identified by your station. So like if something's going on in the vicinity of my station, my zip code, or in my zip code, I will get the text alert, but maybe somebody else that's on the other side of the city, they might not get that text alert. But some things are just general nature. Everybody gets the text alert, but they got it real compartmentalized. They'll have a text for like delegates to the convention, text for, you can have it broke down in a number of different ways when they send out the text alerts. But we've had that program for a few years now. Yeah.
Did you notice the package look ahead option on the scanner now at the top?
No, but how would the scanner know what package to look ahead? Like how would I didn't notice that at all, but I don't see how it would work.
It wouldn't have worked for you because your load truck didn't work. But when you load truck, then it creates the manifest on the package look ahead. It's mostly for new employees.
And it puts it in order, like delivery. See, because that's the other thing. Now, based on like the size of the packages and where you have packages at, I'm not delivering the route in the order. There's no way. Like I got to go over here. It's a one-way street. I got to go this way, come back that way. If I have a package, for example, you go up I go up the even side and come back the odd side. And if the package is at the end of the block, then I'm just gonna go down the odd side and come back the even side, because I'm gonna park at the end of the block, not at the, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
it's never gonna be like the straight walk sequence order. At least my route is not. My route is all over the place. There's tons of deadheads and there's tons of little pieces and nooks and crannies and shit like that.
Was this the first time you've had to carry in the snow in a while?
I think it's the first time that what the hell? This thing's not charging. I don't know why it's not charging. This is the first time that I've had to wear like them overshoes all day in a long time. Because they keep you from like slipping. And anyway, there's a lot of, obviously they keep your feet from getting wet, because if your feet get wet, I tell all the new carriers, like, never let your feet get wet. And if they do, take off everything, put your feet up on the little blower thing and make them dry off, put on some clean socks. But anyway, it really slows you down. And so I was looking at my phone, like how many steps I took each day. And Monday, even though I did the whole route all 5 days, Monday I had like 4,000 more steps or 3,000 more steps than any other day. And I think the reason was, I think it was because of the snow. I was like walking, gingerly or slowly, or I
More
was really worried.
cautiously.
Yeah, cautiously. I was worried I was going to fall on my ass, but I never did. But there was a lot of times where you're like, I better hold on, and that kind of thing. It really slows you down. But the Postal Service has no method in their like system. Like when they evaluate when they estimate the time for the route that day, there's no they don't factor anything in. Like there's there's snow on the ground today. Let's add 45 minutes or whatever. Like, you got EDDM today. That's gonna add 15 to 30 minutes on the street or whatever. Like, there's no factor whatsoever of anything, no matter what you have. But they have all the data. They know exactly how many parcels you have on the route. They know exactly how many pieces of DPS you have. Like, you would think that it would factor those kind of things in and say, this is probably going to be a 6-hour day on the street, or this is going to be an 8-hour day on the street, or I don't know. Have you guys ever thought about that?
Yeah. We explained that in the academy when we go over 3996s.
I just want to know, did you have any downtime at all this week?
Hell no. Hell no. They thought they were gonna like give me some peace. They're like everywhere. They're short carriers, or they're looking for people to pick up pieces over here or there. But no, believe me, I could barely handle my route. Barely. Well, I was tired, man. Monday kicked my ass, and like Tuesday was a holiday. I think I slept the whole morning, and then Wednesday was rough too. Actually, Wednesday was really rough. I had to go to a union meeting, not my branch, but one of the branches in my region, having some issues, and so I went out. They had a union meeting on Tuesday night, and it's about an hour and something away. And the meeting got out, I think, at like 10:30 at night or something. So I got home really late and getting up. And then Wednesday was the day after the holiday. It was heavy as well. So I think I didn't work past 12 hours, but close to that. And then I was kind of backed up for the rest of the week. But if you looked at videos, I look tired. When I go back and look at the videos, I'm like, damn, I look tired. But yeah, because I was tired. This job, that's it. That's the thing, and it's not nothing new this year versus last year or nothing. But the physicality of the job is amazing. I could swear, so I wore pants the first like 3 days, and then I wore shorts. So I have and it's crazy that there was 2 carriers that used to work with me at Ravenswood Station like a long time ago, and I remember one of them on was it Friday morning? Friday morning I wore shorts, and as soon as she seen me, she looked down and looked at the shorts. She's like, "Oh shit, it must be over 60 degrees," because that's always been my cutoff. That's my policy. If it's 60 and above, that's shorts. 59 and below, that's pants. But I couldn't believe she remembered that from like way back then. But I think that the shorts they fit a little bit better on like the last day. I think I was like losing weight. I don't know if I actually was, but it sure felt like it. I don't know.
Now, can you keep us updated if they bring you in for a PDI for you being on your uniform in the truck on your break?
Yeah, I'll let you guys know. I thought so our union steward is Brina. She works at the union hall. She's on she does formal aids for the union full time, and so but she's also the steward. So if they want to do PDIs, they got to call her to come in. So Wednesday morning she was at the station. And I'm like, oh shit, they want to talk to me about my, about my 12 hours from Monday, but they didn't. I was looking forward to that. I love a good PDI. Those things could go on forever. They got questions, I got questions. Let's talk about it. But no, that's another thing though, all throughout the week, I never never had any reason to or paid any attention to any of the supervisors, managers. Like they could have not been there. It just wouldn't have made any difference whatsoever to me. I never filled out any forms. I never consulted with them. I never asked them for nothing. It was a lot of like my vehicle was met like it's problems, but I never went to the supervisor because they can't solve them. Like they don't solve any problems. They don't do anything. They're just completely useless to me. So I don't know. I did have a issue with, so I get a wire cage and I get a orange pumpkin. I'm telling you guys, it's a solid route. So the first day, so you go outside on the dock to try to load up, and you got to push all the stuff out there. And if there's a spot on the dock, there's only like I think it's 6 spots on the dock. So if you get a spot on the dock, then you're good. But if not, you gotta like wheel that stuff down this ramp. And the ramp has like a hard left, like a 90-degree angle where it turns left like halfway down. And then you go out into the parking lot and you can load up in the parking lot. Well, the wire cage, is nice. It moves pretty good, but you're not supposed to take that thing down the ramp. Like it'll just take off. You cannot control it. It's too heavy. And then the orange pumpkin, it's just the wheels. I don't know if the wheels were like this way or that, like it was a mess. I could not push that thing. So on Wednesday, I came back, after I loaded up, I pushed the stuff back into the post office and I flipped the pumpkin up on its side. And the clerk looking at me, everyone was like, why you do that? I said, this thing, please do not put it back over there and don't put no more parcels in this gurney. This thing is not usable. Consult, call 1-800-WHEELS or whatever you got to do to get some new wheels or something. And so it just sat there, nobody did nothing with it for like 2 days. And then on Friday afternoon, they thought I wasn't coming on Saturday. They just assumed I wouldn't come on Saturday. Like, he ain't coming on Saturday. And so Friday afternoon, they put it back and they put all the parcels back into the orange pumpkin. So Saturday morning, I took all the parcels. I wouldn't push the thing. I took all the parcels out of the orange pumpkin on Saturday and put them in another gurney. And then I took the placard off. I just made a new gurney. I'm like, we're just going to use this other gurney. They had like 15 gurneys on the side wall over there. I guess they're for like callers or something, but I just picked one of them that was empty. And I'm like, we're going to use this one for Route 16 now. But that's just an example. Did the supervisor solve that problem? No, they didn't do nothing. Just nothing. I mean, a real simple thing like either switch out the gurney or get some wheels or, something. But totally, just to me, totally useless. Totally useless. Any questions I had or anything I needed, like equipment, like one of the guys let me use his cart. I got a strap from one of the other guys. Another one of my coworkers next to me let me use some of her satchels. Like everything I needed was, we worked it out amongst ourselves. This supervisors are just useless. And we're paying them big money. That's crazy.
So how did you feel like Saturday as far as like, did your body feel sore like after that week of carrying or, you felt good or like, how did you feel after that week?
Yeah, I thought I was going to feel like my back was hurting a little bit, but not like, it wasn't bad. Like I felt good. Like I felt like a nice sense of accomplishment. I mean, the weather on Friday and Saturday was just great. It was like straight mailman weather and just being out there. I love being out there with people. And I mean, it wasn't a lot of days, but you start getting to know people a little bit. And I don't know, it feels good to kind of get the job done. I was close to 8 hours by Friday and Saturday because I was getting to know the route better and, that kind of thing. And the weather was cooperating. I didn't do the route in 8 hours any of the days, but I was saying I felt better about it. Felt pretty good. Yeah, I slept a lot on Sunday too, though. Tuesday, the holiday, and Sunday, there was a lot of rest going on, and so the body. I mean, I feel like I remember on Monday night, I got home late, probably like 10 o'clock at night. I think I had to eat something or whatever, but I just sat there, just like looking at the wall for like 30 minutes. Like you're just completely exhausted. The job is just very, very physical. I mean, you get used to it when you're doing it all the time regularly, but it's you can't underestimate to me how physical the job is and how much we put into it. And the other thing is there's a lot of preparation that goes into the job. A lot of people are dealing. I wasn't dealing with my kids or nothing like that. I don't think on none of the days, but you're dealing with getting the kids and then your uniform and then what food you're going to eat. I had to bring my own water, which is not a big deal, but there's no water at that station. So I had to, fill up my jugs in the morning, carry that stuff with me. Anyway, I like
Was
to
there
take a bite
like
and stuff like that.
when you're out there, or was there like moments where you're like, yeah, man, like like I really miss this, or did you have any time where you're like, damn, I don't miss this shit at all, or was it just you miss being out there?
No, I miss being out there. I like being a letter carrier. Like I said, I miss the whole environment out there. Just I like walking around all day. I mean, to me, so I felt better, because when you work for the union full time, you're doing a lot of traveling, you're at a desk a lot, you're stationary, just the lifestyle of a union rep. I don't like that lifestyle per se versus the lifestyle of a letter carrier, being on the move, out there with people, out there in the elements and the environment. I like that. I like that a lot better. So yeah, I was
So when
I
you're
was
out there,
thinking, I know you guys don't want to
um,
hear this, but I was just thinking like, if you guys don't want me as your president next year, I'll be very happy with that because then I could just go back to my route, could be left alone. I'll be perfectly okay with that.
yeah, I'll think about it. Um, so when you're out there carrying, I know that like you take the leave that you take that week, but were you like still answering like phone calls out there on your route, and were you still doing any of your NBA
um,
work or?
so a little bit. I try to really keep it down. So a lot of times, if I'm getting like a text or email or a voicemail, I forward it. Just hit forward it to somebody at the regional office that can help that person. So I did that a lot, and then like Tuesday, I did go to that union meeting, but that was an off day, so that was kind of separate. I did have a meeting with one of the guys on Saturday during my lunch break. We met up for lunch. Anyway, we had an issue we were talking about. He's from another branch, but we had an issue we were talking about, and then a few phone calls that like I have a lot of deadheads. So once I got the hang of it, closer to like Thursday and Friday, I was able to like make phone calls. Like I would get to the end of the block and I know I'd have to walk back, which is going to be a few more minutes, whatever. So I'll put the earpiece in, make a phone call. Hey, I was just checking in, what's going on, that kind of thing. But I was really keeping it short out there. I didn't have a lot of time. Before, I know when I used to carry mail regularly and I was the union steward, I mean, you guys know how it is when you're the union steward, you're like constantly on the phone, people are constantly calling you, dealing with issues all day long, but I wasn't doing a whole lot of that. If I would get more familiar with the route, yeah, I could probably do that as well. But I was having a hard time multitasking, and I didn't want to misdeliver any more mail, so I was keeping that down pretty good.
Did you pop up on any stationary reports out there? Did they talk to you about the stationary time?
Like I say, they didn't really talk to me at all. A couple of times the supervisor would come over there, and I just ignored them. Really, then they never asked me about no stationary time or nothing. No.
So you're saying you were prepared for all this stuff and none of it happened. Like you wanted them to say something, and
Oh
just
yeah,
didn't happen.
I don't mind a good PDI or like whatever you want to talk about. That's fine. But I think they knew that would be a waste of their time and waste of my time. And, I'm only there for a week, so they pretty much leave me alone. I don't think they leave me alone because I'm the union rep. They just leave me alone. You know what I mean? Like, whatever. He's only here for a few days.
So you think it has nothing to do with you being NBA?
I don't think so.
Come on now, yeah, sure. All right.
I don't think so. I don't know.
Okay, if that's what you want to believe.
How many parcels do you guys deliver like on your route? How many do you normally get?
For me, it depends. Like peak season,
what's the range?
8 to like maybe 40, just parcels.
8 parcels you have before?
Yeah. I don't get that many parcels.
How many you scan? Like, because like at the end of the day, you go back and look at, like at the end of the day, you look at that report and it tells you like how many you delivered and all that.
Probably between 60 and 80 if I'm including spurs and parcels.
Yeah, I think my route's like 80 to 100, but some, or maybe 60 to 100. 60 maybe on the low end.
I think on the low end it might be like 30.
Okay, I think my route gets above average amount of parcels, but I don't know what. I know there's people that get over 100 parcels every day. Parcels and spurs, I guess.
I don't get anything like that. Like my base count is like 6 or 8 parcels, so anything over that is supposed to be additional time.
Right, that's the one thing they do give you like a little extra time for in that DOAS calculation, but that's not really accurately adding the because you could have 100 spurs and it would give you no time for it.
Right.
Or it could be raining all day and they give you no time for that or whatever. 3,000 pieces of DPS, no time for that. I don't know. Yeah. What do you guys do with the certified letter?
Like,
do you have a stylus?
For some reason, we all had styluses, and then like the next week, they ripped all of them off.
So everyone just used their finger, right? Like,
yeah,
like the whole. It's so like I was telling you about the undignified thing. Like what is that? You put the little scribble on there, and it's like. And then there's how you're going to put, like, it says signature, then it says address, and then it says something else, right?
Print, signature, and address.
Right.
And then you got to hit everybody with the same old spiel. Just try your best, use your finger, like, and then,
It's terrible.
Like, there's no way to put the address in. I don't know. It's just such a mess. And then the scanner's like, verify that all the fields are filled in. You're like, I guess they're filled in with gibberish, but yeah, they're filled in.
But it turns green once it's like written in enough. It goes from green, and then that's how you know that it's good.
Yeah, that was. But even with the stylus, I recall when I used to use the stylus is a really bad shape too, right? Like stylus doesn't really work that much better, right?
No, it's a little better, but not much. I mean, if you carry a pen with the stylus tip on there, that might be helpful.
And like your own piece of equipment?
Yeah.
Right.
But it's still not, nothing special.
Did you ride your bike at all to work, or was it too far away, or?
No, I didn't ride my bike, but I rode the Divvy. The Divvy in Chicago that had the Divvy bikes. So I walk outside my house in Hyde Park. There's a metro station. The metro train will go from Hyde Park to McCormick Place in like 6 minutes. So that was awesome. So I would take that, and then it drops you off from McCormick Place over there, and then the little Divvy bike. I mean, I could walk from there. It's not far. It's like half a mile. But then if I want to, I just grab the little Divvy bike and ride it over there by the station.
You should be taking the scooters.
They charge too much for that. My membership gives me free access to the Divvy. They don't give me free access to the scooter.
Did you want to touch at all on, or do we want to put up what happened with the mail handler? I know we're switching
Man, that was
Subjects
crazy.
here.
Yeah. About the Allen Park postal worker that was stuck in the machine.
Man, did you guys see the statement that the Postal Service put out?
No.
So, I pulled it up. The USPS statement said that the United States Postal Service is deeply saddened by the loss of our employee at the Detroit NDC in Allen Park, Michigan. Our thoughts and prayers are with his family, period. The NDC is fully operational at this time. Like, why did they have to put that last line in there?
Yeah, it was
Like,
kind
what
of
the hell was that?
backhanded there. Yeah.
I was like, wow. When I saw that, and people were making comments about it and kind of reposting the statement, but like, who thought that was a good idea, man?
Yeah.
So he was like stuck in the machine or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it said that he was stuck in the machine and he had been dead for 6 to 8 hours before the firefighters even got there. His fiance was looking for him, basically. She stood outside the facility for 3 hours before anybody even helped her.
Wow. So it's like must be a big plant. Like they didn't. I don't know. I never worked in the plant, so like I don't know how these machines are, or, like where's this machine situated where somebody could be lost in the machine for hours on end and nobody knows about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got that news report up there on the screen?
I have the one about from the union steward and the friend.
Yeah. What did they say? They were saying that machine had some issues before or something.
Yeah, and there was there's a grievance filed. It said less than 90 days on that machine.
Yeah. Yeah. They've lost a lot of staff recently, but the mail hasn't slowed down. That the environment is that the mail must move at all costs, which means they're ignoring safety protocols.
It says they're threatening carriers if they call out that they're going to AWOL them. I mean, not carriers, sorry. The postal employees, sorry, yeah.
Sorry about the loss.
At the end of the article, well, no, that's not the end. It says under that heading, toxic, unsafe workplace. You guys are on the Channel 4 news from Detroit or something, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at the same thing. Yeah.
Stifler also described a toxic environment in which management allegedly discourages shutting down machines, even for lockout procedures during repairs. Mm-hmm. We have protocols set in place, and most of those protocols are not followed. I think safety takes the back seat, and it has for quite some time. I think that's generally true in the post office. As much as they kind of fake talk about safety, I don't know, man. There's like,
yeah,
I think that's prevalent everywhere. I think they don't really care about the safety procedure. I don't know. Not that there's not like a effort or a lip service to it, but I don't know. There's not a real like focus or prioritization of safety procedures.
Yeah. They his fiance, they had just got engaged, I guess, like the week before or 10 days before. And so there's a GoFundMe for his fiance as well.
Well, Stephanie, they got $18,000 raised out of $20,000 goal, so it's not bad.
Yeah.
Nick tragically passed away in a work-related accident.
It's a messed up situation. I know when I was listening to the audio, said that they had told her, like the fiance, that he had never clocked out, so they were going to go inside and figure out like where he was at. And I was like, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane that no one thought to go like check on the employees. Like that's just crazy.
For sure.
Yeah, it reminds you of situations where they'll lock up the post office and carriers will still be out on the street. You know, they're like, "Hey, I'm still out here," and they just like close the place up and go home. That's happened many times.
For sure. Um,
What else you guys want to talk about?
do you want to talk about UPS and their preliminary agreement?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I think that's something. So a little background, and I'm definitely not an expert, but I will talk about kind of what I know or what I've heard or what I've heard other people talk about, and that is that DeJoy, when he was the Postmaster General, he was trying to build up the postal network, the ground advantage. So, you know, that the post office would primarily rely on packages that would come into the postal system and then be delivered by us on the last mile. And that's a way where you can build, you know, profit into the system. And DeJoy was not a big fan of the contracts that the post office had, the postal service had with private delivery companies like Amazon or UPS SurePost or whatever, basically because, yeah, those companies are going to drop a lot of packages for last mile delivery at, you know, delivery units, post offices, whatever, but they're only going to drop off to the postal service the least profitable delivery. So they're going to keep for themselves the delivery that's like, you know, in a close walk sequence order, or if they have another delivery for that same address or whatever. You know, they got all these fancy algorithms, and basically they negotiate a rate and then they manipulate that rate by giving the postal service the packages that they don't want to do for themselves, depending on what the rate is. And the ironic thing to me, now that now DeJoy was kind of fired. Basically, the I don't know if it's, you want to say the Trump administration or the White House, or anyway, he technically resigned, but they definitely ran him out. And the board of governors brought in Steiner, which was recommended by the White House and came directly from one of our competitors, FedEx. And Steiner, you know, started to bring back the last mile delivery, which could be a good thing in the sense that, hey, we do delivery, right? Like, you know, give us more work, you know, if you're having these parcels. But it may not be good for the overall health of the postal service, and may not be a solution going forward. That's got to be worked out. Just keep in mind, like I was talking about earlier, the postal service always had the universal service mandate, meaning that not just companies, but any individual can give the postal service anything, and the postal service has to deliver it. And obviously, any delivery is more economic within like a urban area, or, you know, there's a lot of deliveries that the post office makes that cost them less. If you're making deliveries already to that delivery point or that address, that delivery is going to be a lot more cheaper, economical, versus deliveries that are, you know, out in Alaska somewhere, or, you know, out further away. And so the Postal Service has always had the universal service obligation, but it's been balanced by the Postal Service having first class mail monopoly and a mailbox monopoly, which is not as valuable anymore, and has no value whatsoever when you're talking about packages. And so how is that going to work going forward? DeJoy's idea was to build its own network. I don't know if that's the answer, because we build our network, the Postal Service, and Amazon is also building its own network. You know, Amazon has more delivery drivers than city letter carriers right now, if you count all of the drivers that work for the subcontractors and all of that. So that is growing. You know, that delivery business is growing, and the Postal Service is not really growing at the same rate. So I don't know what the answer is, but in the short term, we'll have more parcels and we'll have more work. And for the places that are already understaffed, it's not going to go well. The other thing you're seeing already out there is the Postal Service is just not delivering all the mail. They're just like, hey, we don't want to pay overtime. We don't want to pay whatever the cutoff time is, right? We're going to cut it off at this time. Like in my station, they were sending out a scanner message. Nobody is authorized to be out past 9 o'clock. Well, we start at 8:30. We take a half-hour lunch. So 9 o'clock just so happens to be the 12-hour point. And after 12 hours, you're paying double time and a half. So that was their cutoff. But I know other places, they're cutting it off at 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever, because they don't want to pay all that extra money to get those things delivered. It only works if the post office can make those deliveries for cheap, because they've negotiated that rate with that company. And if the post office is spending more money on delivery than they're bringing in revenue from those companies and those contracts that they have, you know, that's not going to work, and the service is going to hurt, and you know, that kind of thing. There's got to be a way going forward to have universal service where the post office, and I thought about this a lot out there on the route last week too. They designed a mailbox for letters, and a lot of people have bigger mailboxes now, right? But that mailbox says property of U.S. Mail. There's a mailbox monopoly. And if we could figure out a way to have all of the customers get those kind of like parcel mailboxes, like the ones they have like the opening at the top, and you put the parcel in and it drops down to the bottom, and the customer has the key and they open it up from the bottom kind of thing. Like if all of the customers had that and it was property of U.S. Mail, then it's like send everything through the Postal Service, because we have the delivery mechanism for every address in America. Whereas right now, everybody has access to the quote mailbox, as long as the mailbox is somebody's porch or, you know, in front of their building or whatever. You know, the mailbox to me has to have that value to offset the universal service obligation that the Postal Service has. And then we would say to every company, you know, hey, send all your work our way. And it would also help us to negotiate a better contract, because part of our problem is that we are looked upon as just like I was saying before, just like a body, versus being that key to efficient delivery for America. And that's where we're, you know, that's going to be the struggle, I think, over the next 5, 10, 15 years, to try to reestablish the Postal Service as the delivery mechanism for America, like we've been for the last 250 years. But now we're in a challenging time. And maybe you go back to the old model where it's taxpayer funded. I mean, we've not taken any taxpayer money for probably 40 years now, more than 40 years, I think. But prior to that, it was always taxpayer funded, because it was a service to the people, you know, and the people are still getting that service, but it was being paid for by postage. And if you want to continue that, which I think most Americans do, there's value in having a letter carrier out there without having to pay anything at all in taxes. So in order to have that value, the Postal Service has to have something. And like I said before, they had the first class mail monopoly and the monopoly on mailboxes. What are we going to have in the future that's going to make this system viable, so we can save the greatest delivery network ever assembled in the history of the world, which is what the United States Postal Service is? So I had a couple comments on that, Sarah.
It was a little bit more than a couple.
Did you see the statement that we put out, the NELC put out? I wasn't too impressed with the statement. What do you guys think? The statement it focused on, so it talked about, oh, this was not on the UPS thing, but the statement that we put out regarding the fiscal year 2025 financial results. Yeah, you got it up on the screen there.
I do.
It says that it says these results, it's talking about the losses of $9 billion. These results reinforce the need for continued policy changes and network modernization to achieve long-term financial sustainability. Now, the network modernization, not sure what we're referring to there, because it doesn't talk about that, but it talks about policy changes. And to me, the policy changes are not gonna get you there. For years, the NLC has led the fight to repeal the retiree healthcare pre-funding mandate, which we did already. This was achieved. Today, we continue to say what we said then, more must be done. I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. We put all our effort into that, repealing the pre-funding mandate, and now we're like, okay, that didn't solve the problem. It says, it talks about the postal, basically pension funds and being able to invest the money and stuff like that. And I mean, those things would be good, but I think you have to solve the business model of the Postal Service more than anything. So I don't know what the network modernization would look like, but maybe that's something that would help the business model. I don't know.
Maybe. Yeah.
Congress must enact these common sense reforms so letter carriers and all postal employees can do what we do best for another 250 years, serving the American people every day. I agree with that. I don't know if it's there's definitely some legislation that could be passed, but like I say, I think something along the lines of first class mail monopoly for Spurs would be the legislation that would propel the Postal Service into being the model that the delivery model for the future. Something like that. But $9 billion last year, $9 billion this year. I mean, at some point, I think the immediate problem is the Postal Service is not going to want to deliver the mail. They're already not delivering the mail every day, and the packages even. Which for a while it was like, just deliver the packages. We don't care about the mail, which was bad enough. But now it's like, we don't care about none of that, or whatever. So I saw that they did they got some kind. They had some in the St. Louis area, because St. Louis area is part Illinois and part Missouri. But they said that the congressional reps and the senators had kind of complained about mail being delayed, and OIG auditing opened up. They did an audit, I think a couple months ago. They put it out in the St. Louis area and talked about all the delays. But now in like November and going into December, where there's heavy packages and where the weather starts to get colder, I think you're going to see massive delays of the mail. They're not always reporting the delays. They're supposed to put it into that CDV or CD something system that they're not, that's where they're supposed to report it. But I think there's an opportunity to get your local congressmen and representatives involved, because Congress is supposed to have oversight over the Postal Service. And I don't think the Postal Service has a legal mandate to deliver all the mails and packages 6 days a week, and they're not fulfilling that mandate right now. And I think it's gonna get worse. I think it's gonna be a bigger and bigger problem.
Yeah.
Is that just in Chicago, or No, I know it's not just in Chicago. You're seeing that other places too, right? Where they're not delivering everything.
I haven't really looked.
The northern suburbs, I know, are having the same problem because they've always had staffing issues up there. Check on it. You're not at Academy this week, right? But next week, I bet you you're going to see mail delayed.
I'm at the Academy.
Oh, you're there this week?
Yeah, I'm in Elgin this week. Well, the first half of the week.
Yeah, I don't know about Elgin, but I'm saying, I was thinking Des Plaines.
Yeah, Displays. I was there when they made the announcements about only getting 30 minutes to case up their mail. And then we were, some of the veteran carriers were saying comments to us like, oh, did you hear what they're telling us? And we're like, yeah, fill out your 1571.
What's that? Yeah, but you have anyway. What I saw is that certain whole routes are not going out, or like in Downers Grove today. I think it was today and Saturday. Just like whole routes not going out, or all of the packages for whole routes not being delivered. And I think they told them today it's an 8-hour day today. It's an 8-hour day. Whatever you can do.
Downers Grove on Saturday. Well, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I do know that there are a lot of carriers at that funeral. So
yeah, the carriers need to learn how to do something we've done in Chicago for a long time. It's called a extended lunch. You still deliver your route. You might be gone for like 2 hours to attend a funeral or something, or even a kid's ball game or something. But then you bring your ass back to work and deliver the rest of the mail. So when you talk to your friends over there in Downers Grove, let them know that's an option.
I don't have friends in Downers Grove, sir. I have my brother. My brother.
All right. Well, this is a nationwide program, so we're not going to talk about the individual issues at that particular post office. But it's we need to be on alert with that issue of the Postal Service making a decision to not deliver all of the mail in the parcels. And what can we do about that?
All right.
All right.
Yeah, we can wrap this shit up. I'm gonna fall asleep. I'm gonna get me a keyboard.
Yeah. Well, do you guys have any more questions for me?
No, sir.
I'm here. I'm here for
no,
you.
Sir. No, I see you're very chickeny. No, I don't have any more questions for you.
If you would have called me last week, I'd have been like, let's wrap this thing up, just like you just said. But this week, hey, I'm a ball of energy. Let's go. We can go all night. But all right, I appreciate you guys. I had a blast last week, so I appreciate being able to give a little recap. That was fun. But we can wrap it up.